All right, let's talk about the one thing that can absolutely make or break your experience with these new super shoes. We're going to unpack the secret engine, the technique that really unlocks the power of all that carbon and foam. This is the key. So let me ask you this. You just dropped some serious cash on a brand new pair of Alpha Flies. You put them on, you feel that bounce, you're ready to go. And then you catch a toe. You scuff the pavement. It feels clumsy, right? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, listen up, because the problem isn't the shoe, it's how we're using it. Here's a great way to picture what's happening. Think about a hammer. If the head of the hammer is loose and wobbly, when you go to strike something, all that energy just fizzles out, right? That's a lazy, floppy foot. But if you have a foot that's active and engaged, it's like a cocked hammer. It's solid, it's locked in, ready to transfer every ounce of force directly into the ground. So let's frame this the right way. This is not a super shoe problem. It's a super shoe opportunity for us to refine our technique. The very thing that makes these shoes so fast, that huge, bouncy stack of foam, is also the thing that's demanding a whole new level of control from us as runners. And the solution, the name of the game, is something called active dorsiflexion. It sounds kind of technical, but I promise you it's really simple. All it is the conscious act of pulling your toes and your foot up towards your shin while your leg is swinging through the air. The key word here is active. This isn't something that just happens. You have to make it happen. Now, when you get this right, it becomes what I like to call your stride's safety lock. Seriously, when you're running on what feels like a 40-millimeter trampoline, this isn't just an optional little tweak for efficiency. No, this is non-negotiable. It's what keeps you powerful and, frankly, upright. So why is it so critical? Two big reasons. First, the obvious one, clearance. If your foot is just dangling down, you're going to catch that massive sole on the ground and trip. Pulling those toes up shortens the lever and gives you the space you need. But the second reason, this is where the magic happens. It's spring loading. By pulling your foot up, you're pre-stretching your Achilles tendon, turning it into this tightly coiled spring that's just waiting to explode with energy the second you touch the ground. Okay, so we know what it is and we know why we need to do it. Now, let's get into the how. We're going to break this down into really simple, actionable steps that you can actually try on your very next run. Before we do anything else, you have to know which muscle is supposed to be doing the work here. The entire movement is powered by your tibialis anterior. That's that muscle that runs right down the front of your shin. It is not your calf. You're not pointing your toes, you're pulling them up. Getting that feeling in the front of your shin is the absolute key. Now, timing is everything. Picture your legs cycling in a smooth oval. As your heel folds up towards your butt, your ankle can be totally relaxed. But right as your knee drives forward at the very top of that oval, that's your trigger point. That's when you actively pull your toes up towards your shin. And then, this is the critical part, you have to hold that position as your foot drops towards the ground. That's what sets you up for that perfect midfoot landing. Then, as you push off, you can let it relax again. I know, it sounds like a lot to think about, so let's make it easy with 3 simple cues. First, a visual cue. Show the logo. As your knee comes forward, imagine you're trying to show the logo on the tongue of your shoe to someone standing in front of you. Next, a sensory cue. Imagine you're running just underneath a low glass table, and you have to lift your toes to keep from stubbing them on the glass. And finally, a mechanical cue. Just think lock the angle. Feel that joint get solid at a nice, crisp 90-degree angle. And hey, want a little cheat code to really dial this in? Before your next run, try this drill. It's just a simple heel walk. For about 20 steps, just walk on your heels, pulling your toes up as high as they'll go. You should feel a little burn right in the front of your shins. That's good. That's the feeling of your tibialis anterior waking up and coming online for your run. Look, changing your form doesn't happen overnight, and it's really easy to fall into a few common traps. So let's quickly troubleshoot the biggest mistakes people make so you can do this correctly and, more importantly, safely. Okay, if you're still tripping, it's almost always lazy dorsiflexion. The fix is to remember that cue. Shorten the lever. Get that toe up. Now, if you're starting to feel shin splints, you're probably holding it way too tight for way too long. The cue here is pulse, don't clench. It's an active pull, not a death grip. And finally, if you find yourself slamming down on your heel, you're probably over-pulling and reaching out in front of you. The fix is this little mantra, toes up, foot flat. You pull the toes up to load the spring, but you aim to land on a stable, relatively flat foot right underneath you. All right, let's bring this all home. I don't want you to feel like you just sat through a biomechanics lecture. I want you to have a simple, powerful mission for your very next run. Here it is, your 4-step mission. Number 1, just focus on that smooth, cycling oval motion from your hips. 2, as that knee drives up and forward, think show the logo. Pull those toes up. 3, hold it, just for that split second as your foot comes down. And 4, aim to land right on those bouncy air pods, ready to spring you forward. That's it. So there you have it. It's such a small change in your technique, but it has this massive potential payoff in safety, in efficiency, and, yes, in speed. It really is the key that unlocks what those expensive shoes are designed to do. So the only question left is, could this be the secret to your next PR? Time to go find out.